Let me double check that. Oh, some of them are the same. Some of them are different. Okay, so let's look at this. So A, right? What is the distance from the end of the ruler to A? It's 1/4 of an inch. So look, we'd have a 0 for the total number, right? We know the denominator, the bottom number, is 16. We count over 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. We have 4/16, which is 1/4, right? B, now we still don't have any full inches, right? So our bottom number is going to be 16. What's the distance from the end of the ruler to B? It's 15/16 because you can count 15 spaces until you get to that mark. Or what a lot of you will learn to do, and I do very often, is count backwards. It's going to be a lot quicker to count backwards here, 1/16, than it is to count forward 15 of them. And you'll get to the point where when you look at a ruler and you look at a line on there or a spot on there, you'll be like, oh, I know what that is. That's a quarter, or that's a half, or that's 3/8. So, and then you kind of check yourself by counting. What's the distance from the end of the ruler to C? Right? Give you a second to answer. Maybe write it down. Raise your hand if we're in class, which we're doing Google Meets. So yeah, probably raise your hand. So we put a 16 on the bottom. We know it's 1 full inch. We count the number of spaces. If we go backwards, we go 15, 14, 13, 12. So it'd be 12/16, right? What is 12/16 reduced to? Well, 4 goes into both of them. 4 goes into 12 3 times. 4 goes into 16 4 times. So you have 1 3/4. Yay, I did it right. Okay. D, we have 2 full inches. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 marks over to that spot. So that'd be 1 6/16. 6/16 would reduce to what? Half of 6 is 3. Half of 16 is 8. So it should be 2 3/8. Yay, got it. Okay. And then E, we have 3 full inches. Now, sometimes kids get goofed up when the ruler ends on them, but it's still marked in 16ths. So you've got 3 and just 1/16, and no need to reduce. Okay, metric system or the international system. The metric system's used a whole lot more throughout the world than our standard or customary US system. We're basically the only big country in the world that still uses the standard system or inches and feet. So in a lot of industries and things in this country, we have had to switch over because we do business worldwide, right? Okay, so millimeters and centimeters. We deal with decimals in the metric system. Right? So there is 1 millimeter or 0.1 centimeters. There's 5 millimeters or 0.5 centimeters, or it's a half, right? But we do it in decimal. And there's 10 millimeters, which is 1 centimeter. Get the idea? It's all tens. Steps in using the metric system. Count the number of whole centimeters. These are the larger lines with numbers. Count the number of lines after the whole number. The smaller lines are millimeters. Put in correct terms. Since millimeters are 1/10 of a centimeter, if you measure 7 marks after 1 centimeter, the measure is 1.7 centimeters or 17 millimeters. You could label it either way, but you have to make sure you have the right label for how you wrote it. Okay, see how that works? 1.7 centimeters is 17 millimeters. Okay, let's practice this. A, we have 4 millimeters or 0.4 centimeters, right? Because you're over 4 marks. 4 millimeters or 0.4 centimeters. B, what is B? Well, it's 1 full centimeter, right? And then 9/10 of the next. So it's 1.9 centimeters or how many millimeters? Right, 19. C is 3 full centimeters and 7 marks. I could do that quickly because the middle mark is longer. just like on an inch ruler where the lines get longer as the divisions get bigger. Same thing here, but they just put the middle one longer. The rest are all the same. So we have 37 millimeters or 3.7 centimeters. All right. Then D is 6 centimeters and then 3 little marks or 3 millimeters. So 6.3 centimeters or 63 millimeters. And then E is 7 full centimeters, 3 more marks, so 7.3 centimeters or 73 millimeters. Converting standard to metric. Sometimes you need to convert from one to the other. So look, lots of times, there was talk many years ago, years and years ago when I was a kid, when the metric system was being used by every other country in the world pretty much. There was talk that we would have to switch over completely. And we never did. I'm thinking probably a lot of it was cost. We have some, but not completely. I mean, think about our roads. Every single sign on every road would have to be changed. Everything that's got anything to do with mileage would have to be changed to kilometers, right? So that was never really done. But if you look at this, okay, a mile, if you convert a mile to a kilometer, you multiply by 1.6. So a kilometer is shorter than a mile. So to get it to to get a kilometer to a mile, you have to multiply by that, or to get a kilometer to miles, you got to measure by that 1.6. So, or if you convert miles to kilometers, sorry, I went backwards on that. But it's just, and you're not going to have to do this a whole lot. And if you do, you'll have this chart. So that means that 1 mile is actually equivalent to 1.6 kilometers. That's why if you're going 60 miles an hour, I think you're going something like 90 miles per hour or 90 kilometers per hour. Okay, inches, there's 25.4 millimeters to an inch or 2.54 centimeters to an inch. And then we got feet and yards. Okay, we can foot to a meter and yards to a meter. Okay, converting metric to standard, going the other way. If you convert a kilometer to a mile, okay, now you got to multiply by 0.6 because you got to make a smaller number because the kilometer is bigger. Millimeters, centimeter to inch, meter to foot, you see it, meter to yard. Okay, so a meter is just a little bit longer than a yard, not a lot. So when you swim in like a 25-yard pool, they have 25-yard pools. And then in the Olympics, our pool is a 25-yard pool. In the Olympics, they swim in a 50-meter pool. So it's actually a little over twice the length of our pool because it's 50 meters and a meter is longer than a yard. So let's practice this. You used a meter stick to measure your window for new shades. However, the shade packages list the measurements in English units. Luckily, your cell phone has a calculator so you can quickly convert your 81.3 centimeters by 91.4 centimeter window opening to English units. What size is your window using English units? Round to the nearest inch. So let's see how we do this. 81.3 by, okay, you got to multiply that. If you go back to that table, if you got to multiply that by 0.3937, that's the conversion of centimeters to inches, right? And you come up with 32 inches. Then you got 91.4 centimeters, and you multiply that by the same 0.3937, you come up with 36 inches. Therefore, the window opening is 32 by 36 inches. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is go through your packet and fill in the answers on there. Don't forget the chart on page 4 and the educated guesses. Okay? Don't take a ruler or a yardstick or a tape measure for that. The part where it says educated guess, fill that in. And then as you guess on it, okay, by looking at something like your logbook, how wide do you think it is? Right? Is it 10 inches or is it 20 inches? And then actually take a ruler or a yardstick or a tape measure and measure some of these things. Hopefully you can find a tape measure at home, because you got to measure some longer things like the width of your driveway or the length of your sidewalk. Sometimes if we measure something really long and we just need a real ballpark figure, what can we do? Like maybe if we said the length of your driveway, you might need to step that off. If you don't have, lots of times they'll use a wheel, and the wheel will be like 3 feet around or something, and you count that. But you could step it off. Like if I take big steps, my stride is about 3 feet long. So I know if I've got 10 strides, it's about 30 feet. So anyways, go through this packet. Parts you don't understand, you can check with me. And yeah, we'll work on this for probably a day or two here. Okay. So good luck, folks. Let me know if you need any help.